Okay, so after this, we will be opening up, Sandra will for public comment, and the approval of the minutes and the reviewing of the action item. We have a packed agenda today with the HR 1 and policy updates, release updates. We'll be having workload management updates as well, and introducing the OCM activities. We have benefits count updates. We have quite a few things going on there, as well as following that, the collaboration model and some of the advisory group activities in January, and those recommendations in terms of initiatives. After that, the heavily anticipated Gen AI call summarization update, and then our CLE sessions, our CalSolid Learning Exchange, a quick transition update, as well as the quarterly performance trends, and then reporting out from our state partners. So with that, and then we go, we leave and adjourn. So with that, I can turn it back over to you, Sandra.
Thank you very much. Okay, for public comment, the public will have an opportunity to speak on any item not on the agenda.
Sorry, my fault. Okay.
Okay.
Apologies, hit the wrong buttons.
Okay, we're good to get going. Okay, public comments are limited to no more than 3 minutes per speaker, except that a speaker using a translator shall be allowed up to 6 minutes. The public may also speak on any item on the agenda by waiting until the item is read, then requesting recognition from the chair to speak. So we'll go ahead and move to approval of the minutes.
We need to open it. We gotta wait.
Oh, sorry.
Is there any public comment?
Oh, any public comment? All right, hearing none. Is this where I go ask the PSC? No. Okay. Approval of the minutes.
All right, we don't have any action items.
I think we did have a couple of action items.
Oh, the schedule training. Yeah, it says none. All right, we do have 2 action items, you're right, Sandra, on scheduling the training session for AVOD once the updates are made. That's a to be determined, but I don't know if Michelle or Michelle's not here, so I think that's something that we will make sure to schedule, Sandra, once we. Does anyone else from the project have any updates on that? All right, and then the other one was the confirming the ad hoc queries include descriptions, which Jerry.
Yeah,
I believe we have.
yeah,
We've done that. Yeah.
We've done that one.
Yeah, so that's been done. So yeah.
Thank you for that. So we can now move over to the approval of the minutes. Do we have a first?
This is Rachel from Region 3. I move to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Rachel. Do we have a second?
I second. This is Sean from Region 6.
Thank you, Sean. And for those who weren't present prior, you can, as we get to your name, you can approve for the record.
Sorry. Eduardo, did he?
So Eduardo, I approve.
Okay.
Region 2.
Cecilia?
Yes, I approve.
Maria?
I approve for the record.
Sandra?
I approve.
Mel,
I approve.
Sean? Oh, sorry, never mind. Sean. All right, Olga?
Yes, I approve.
We do need to, I know we just did the approval, but I do want to pause and see if there's any public comment on the minutes.
Do we have a public comment?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself, so I apologize. My setup, I have one screen, so I'm trying to work on through all this. So, okay, moving on through the agenda for the first one being HR1 and policy and releases, and it goes to Sharon and Roger.
Good morning. So what we have done for the Medi-Cal slides is we've broken up the state budget items into a separate chart from those that are HR1. And so this one just shows that in 26.9, we're going to be changing the state funded aid codes. And next slide. This slide shows the HR1 Medi-Cal efforts that we are ongoing, and everything is on track. With these items, what we are doing is we're working with DHCS, CWDA, and CalHERS, and we're also keeping the Medi-Cal committee informed on our progress. For the work requirements, for the 2609 work requirements and community engagement, as well as the 6-month redeterminations, we do have a county work group that is ongoing. Next slide. So this just shows you what we're going to continue to work on in HR1 and 2611 and into the future.
All right, thank you, Sharon. Good morning, everyone. So these next couple of slides focus on the CalFresh and CalWorks May revise an HR1 policy implementation roadmap. With our upcoming releases, starting in March, we have a priority release on the 31st to implement the CalFresh HR1 non-citizen eligibility policy changes that are effective April 1st. In April, we have another priority release on the 30th, and that is to implement the ABOD time limit exception screening form, which will be added to the CalFresh RE packet, as well as the CalWorks and CalFresh packet as well. And then with our baseline May release, we have the HR1 ABOD policy changes, along with a mass mailer to inform households of their ABOD status that will be targeted for implementation. This policy has an effective date of June 1st. On the next slide, we have future policy items in our July and September releases. These are around the CalFresh SUA's eligibility noticing threshold languages being implemented in July. And then in September, we have the integration of the work number into CalSOLVs. If no questions, we can move over to the next set of slides here. So these slides cover our CalFresh system enhancements aimed at improving processing and reducing error rates. In our upcoming March release, there are 7 system enhancements targeted for implementation. These include the automation of the payment verification system, data processing, eliminating the need for manual data entry. There are multi-month EDBC noticing enhancements, such as accounting for additional data points in multi-month EDBC scenarios, as well as EDBC logic enhancements to align reporting periods across programs and renaming of negative action reasons to improve accuracy during QC sampling. In May, we have eligibility changes to enhance our proof of name and identity verification rules for household members to align with policy guidance. And then in the next set of slides, we have additional CalFresh system enhancements targeted for future releases that the team is still working through the requirements and designs. These are enhancements around EDBC, fiscal skip benefits, and data collection. Next slide, please. This slide covers our upcoming policy outreach efforts. As mentioned, we have the payment verification system changes going in our March release. As part of this implementation, we have a dedicated demo scheduled for March 11th at 10 a.m. To walk through the new functionality. In addition, there are planned job aid updates and a potential quick guide that's being developed for that change. And then in our May release, there's also a dedicated recorded demo for our ABOD changes, as well as job aid, quick guides, updates, as well as web-based training updates that will go along with that change. Next slide. These next set of slides cover our HR1 work group updates, starting with our CalFresh processing work group. Just as a reminder here, this work group focused on identifying and prioritizing system requirements or system enhancements that could help reduce CalFresh error rates across counties. The group began meeting in October, completed its requirements gathering in December. They identified 15 requirements that were prioritized and grouped into thematic areas as shown on the slide. The first theme being automatic system error reviews, which focus on real-time system validations that alert workers to potential errors. The second theme was around nudges and navigations, which include on-screen prompts displayed prior to saving that encourage workers to verify information in specific scenarios. Third theme being interview support, providing automatic real-time prompts during interviews to help workers capture, clarify, or verify information. And lastly, we had a technical theme surrounded around improving supervisor authorization functionality to be more configurable and customizable by program and scenario. On the next slide, we'll see that these requirements have been grouped into 6 SERs. And we have a high-level implementation timeline, but the plan is to target to implement these starting this summer and continuing through the end of this year. Moving on to our ad hoc reporting work group. Again, this work group was focused on gathering and prioritizing ad hoc requirements around HR1 to help counties visualize the potential populations impacted. The group began meeting in October and completed its initial work in January. Now, that said, the ad hoc project support team will continue to be available to refine these reports or to develop new ad hoc reports as we progress through the HR1 implementation. This group identified 44 requirements across the reporting categories that you see here on the slide. The team delivered its first set of ad hoc reports in December. They refined these reports based on county feedback, and those updated reports were disseminated on January 28th, along with a handbook that provided information on how that data was being pulled and the columns that were being populated on each report. On the next slide, we have our ABOD work group update. And so this work group was established to gather and prioritize system enhancements or requirements related to ABOD to support the counties implementing this HR1 policy. The work group began meeting in December, and they actually just completed their final list of system requirements yesterday. And so the project will now be taking those requirements, creating SCRs, and developing an implementation plan. Our next PSC will summarize the requirements like we did for the CalFresh processing work group. I will now pass it over to Gloria, who's going to provide a quick update on our CalSolve releases.
Good morning, everyone. I'm feeling like the Temptations this morning. I guess you can say what makes me feel this way. CalSolve, I have sunshine on a cloudy day. All right. So let's look at our release updates, our release and policy updates. So we had our Cal Here's baseline update in February, coming up February, with several priority releases that occurred during the month, and our final one coming up on 2/23/26. And for March, we're already in testing for March, our baseline release, which is coming up, and we have several different items that we're looking at. Our FPL for Medi-Cal COLA. We have our 9YA code that we're doing for our treatment facilities and parents. We have an update to CalFresh and CalWorks, our indigent functionality. And we also have our Meds Alert performance dashboards. That was one of the big ones that we were trying to get into last year. So we are working on that it'll be ready for March release. And additionally, one of our HR1 items that we have going is for CalFresh for the lawfully present non-citizens. I'm not going to go through the rest for April and May, but they're listed here, but there are some HR1 items that are coming up also for May. All right, let's go to the next slide. So from here, I'm going to give you an update that, like I said, testing is underway for 2603. Our green light is scheduled for 318 and deployment is on 32226. So that's my update for our releases. Any questions? All right, tossing it back to you, Roger.
All right, thank you, Gloria. If we can move over to the next topic. We have an update on the workload management redesign effort.
Roger, we have to pause for questions on that item before we come here. Sandra?
Yes. Okay, so we have to pause for public comment, right, at PSC?
Yeah.
So just really quick on I appreciate that you guys are going to have the webinars for the releases for March and May. That's helpful. Part of that webinar for March, are we also going to get a chance to see the Meds Alert dashboard?
So I would have to inquire with the team if that was one of the requested ones for that dashboard.
Perfect. Thank you. I think just some of our counties want to know, since they've been working on a few different ways of pulling those Meds alerts for reporting purposes.
Right.
And just another question for the HR, CalFresh processing, the automation, the nudges, all that. As we're incorporating these for CalFresh, are we also looking ahead and seeing how we can utilize this type of technology for the other programs that we have within CalSauce?
We are, Sandra. So, one of our focuses is on making sure that we build a framework first and that we test it out. So the feedback that we got back from the work group as well as, other, county representatives is we don't want to overwhelm the counties, right? The county workers already have a lot of information coming at them, like a lot of tasks. And so we want to make sure that we're building this functionality in a way where it's useful, it's not overwhelming. Workers aren't going to ignore it. So also bringing in the ability for counties to configure these, navigation, these nudges to really meet their needs. And so part of this is, doing a phased approach where we're implementing, we're testing it out with a few, scenarios, making sure that we work that out with, CalFresh, CalWorks, and then we can expand that into our programs.
Perfect. Thank you. Any questions or comments from the PSC? Yes, I see Clarissa's hand.
Quick question. I actually never have a quick question. Roger, that was a lot to swallow in such a short amount of time. As you're doing these releases, and I feel like it's happening every month, what types of guides or training materials are you sharing with counties so that, because sometimes I don't know if it's a big enough release to do an actual training, or do we combine all these releases for one big training? I'm not sure kind of how, as we move forward with all these wonderful releases that are coming up, will we have time to train our staff? Or will we have materials to be able to train our own staff?
So great question. As we implement these policy changes and these enhancements, the majority are being aligned with our bi-monthly releases. So there is a process there where the project will send out a communication, major upcoming changes communication, where they list out all of the SCRs that are planned to be implemented as part of those releases. We then gather feedback from the counties Similar to Sandra's question on, items that they'd like to see demoed, that the project would like to see demoed prior to the release. So that's one forum there. The other vehicle there is the project does its own assessment of training materials. So we have job aids that we publish. We have online help pages that help with navigation and explain the different functionality on the pages. We also have web-based training that we assess. And then we're doing also quick guides, which are, summarized, snack bite bits of the functionality being introduced and how that may impact the counties. We also have an OCM team that assesses organization change management, and we're going to get into that a little bit with our next topic, which is the workload management redesign effort, where we have an OCM effort that is doing to-be and as-is processes to help support the counties as we implement these changes.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Greg. Are those materials shared with the counties ahead of the release, or do they come out with the release?
Almost all come out before the release, the exception
Perfect.
being your web-based trainings. Typically, those we have to wait until functionality has been fully implemented, is in the system, and has been validated, because it's reporting the system actions. And so for web-based trainings, typically those come after the release has been implemented, but all of the other material, that is before.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mhm.
Just a second.
Sandra, this is Gloria. I'm sorry, can I give you an update for
Yes.
the
Hold on, I
next
just-
dashboard?
Yes, please.
I
Um,
can't-
Can you
Hello?
hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear Gloria.
Okay, so we don't do updates, webcasts for reports, forms, and NOAA, so I just want to give you that update.
That's so strange. Can you guys hear the room?
We
I
hear
can
the room.
We hear the room slightly.
It's like my childhood trauma all over again. I did want to call out Ashley, I just wanted to interject, Gloria, I'm sorry. Ashley put a note in the chat. Ashley, did you want to call that out specifically because it was addressing the question from the PSC?
Sure. I was just, and apologies for not being on camera. I'm trying to save bandwidth up here in the snow. Usually ahead of time, the team will also put out the release newsletter, and that's just a quick snapshot of a lot of the major changes that are coming in each release, and it'll also highlight any training materials that are currently updated as part of that release or new. So if there's a quick guide that's coming out based on some of that functionality, it'll be listed in that document also. It's a really great resource to just get a quick look of what's coming out with the release and what materials are being updated along with those.
Thank you for that. And the room sound comes in and out, so it's a little bit hard to hear. But Gloria, I think for the ABOD dashboard, the Met-Alert dashboard, that's something that we're anticipating. So if there's a way to get that out to the counties, that would be really helpful ahead of time, just so we can, or a little walkthrough, so that we can get a chance to see that before it gets implemented. I see Dell's hand.
Okay, thank you. So a question on the, I think it's 293-533. It's on the Medi-Cal update for the address, right, from a verified source. For counties that use the return mail process, the address is going to be updated, but my understanding is that the mail will not be retriggered. What we want to have is an ability then for those that we know that the address has been updated, that there's some sort of an indicator that we were able to manually remail those, or you know what I mean, like retrigger that mail from the county side. Otherwise, we wouldn't know. We would have to go to every one of those mail pieces that we return and determine by reading the task or the journal entry which mail piece needs to be resent. Does that make sense?
Yeah, go ahead. John is going to interject.
Yeah, so Del, we did get the email that you had on this particular topic,
Yep.
and we have scheduled a meeting this afternoon with the M&E team to make sure that both pieces of functionality are covered under that SCR, or to discuss that both pieces are there. So that is, we are working with them this afternoon to address making sure that you don't lose functionality that you have.
At least that we have the visibility as to what was updated so that we can react to it. Thank you, Don. Yeah, thank you for setting up that meeting. Trying to make everybody else aware that's not participating.
Yeah, we will certainly discuss it this afternoon, and I'm sure they'll be back to you with the final answer, but your concern was received, and we are talking about stuff.
Perfect.
Thank you, Dale, for that. I also saw Sean's hand, or was that an accident?
No, that's fine. I was
Okay.
able to find a slide for myself. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. All right. And any other questions from PSC?
I think
Then-
Gloria wants to provide an update.
Sorry, Gloria, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just making a comment about what was available for the webcast. So NOAA informs aren't, training material isn't, reports aren't, and any technical back-end changes. But additionally, Sandra, we have a post report post release meeting after each release, specifically for reports. And we allow the counties to ask any questions about the reports once they're in production. So that is always, so this release will be in March. That meeting will be on the second Thursday in April. And they can any questions they have about any reports that come out, that meeting is available for counties.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Gloria, for that.
Mhm.
Then moving on to any public comment.
Hi, this is Jennifer from the Advocates Group. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Jennifer.
Thanks. On slide 14, it talked about the upcoming outreach efforts regarding some of the ABOT exemptions. And I'm wondering if those demos will include the benefits cal side so that workers can understand what customers are seeing and kind of connect that dots to what they're seeing in CalSAS.
Yeah.
Hi, Jen, this is Frederick. So yes, we did discuss that yesterday, that we needed to work on demonstrations that will be provided to the counties. So at this time, it's not part of that, but we are going to work to get training materials and demonstrations out from the benefits side through the CalSAS core side as well, for the workers to see that also.
Thank you so much.
Right. Any other questions from the public? Okay.
Kevin has his hand raised. Kevin, you're on mute.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I had my hand up.
Oh, sorry.
But that's okay. It's a free country still. So I love all the stuff that you're all doing, but we would like to know the system change requests that you reference over there. We can't even see that. And it would be nice if you made it publicly available, or maybe in your PowerPoint you would have a link so the public could click on it and see what you are all doing. Would that be very hard to do?
Kevin, yes, we do share our the SCRs on calsas.org, and so we will do that. We'll verify for you that these particular ones are displayed there.
Yeah. What I was thinking is in the PowerPoint, if you could have a link where we could just click on it and see it, that would be nice. Just a thought.
We'll take that feedback. Thank you, Kevin.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Kevin. And let me double check that we don't have anyone else on. Doesn't look like it. Jen, I think you had a question in the comments. Is there a list of SCRs on the website? And Julia just informed that they do have the list on the website. So could we post the link on the web in the chat so that they can access that, please? All right. All right, moving through the agenda. Next item on the agenda is going to be workload management and updates. And this is going to go to Roger.
Yes, hello again. So, workload management redesign effort. So, a bit of background here. This effort began in 2024 with the goal of enhancing functionality to better assist staff with assigning intakes to eligibility workers, scheduling and rescheduling intake appointments, and establishing worker availability, as well as tracking intake appointments. Through a series of regional workshops, the formation of a dedicated work group, regional manager touch points, and county site visits. 7 key focus areas for system enhancements were identified. These are assisting counties in scheduling intakes and determining the appropriate worker, enhancing reporting to provide more real-time and supplemental information related to intake and appointments, simplifying the maintenance of worker schedules, enhancing the view of worker schedules and appointments within the application, simplifying the reassignment of existing appointments, assisting workers in prioritizing these appointments and worker schedules, and then training on the new functionality. These enhancements are now being implemented in 2 phases. We have phase 1 will be included in our CalSAW's May baseline release, with phase 2 targeted for the September baseline release. So we wanted to cover the organization change management activities that are going along with this effort for phase 1. And so with that, I'll pass it over to Allison, who's going to cover those activities.
Hello, everyone. I'm Allison Wolfarth. I'm the Deloitte OCM lead for CalSAWS. And as Roger noted, for that workload management redesign, we appreciate it's a significant enhancement for counties. So we're really excited to tailor the OCM activities to maximize staff readiness. So as you see here, what we've accomplished in alignment with the team, as they approved the design in January, we then immediately developed an OCM plan. One, not only in alignment with their timeline, but also with those type of functionalities to see, okay, how do we break this out for those specific stakeholder groups? So as Roger hinted earlier, we're already documenting all the to-be processes and those unique differences there when it comes to what either will be for everyday pages, what might be only for admin pages, and then we're actually workshopping with consortium on those as-is processes in order to understand the really key differences, which will play into mitigation strategies. So this is going to be a package we're going to distribute out to regional managers because we appreciate that they will understand the county's different business approach when it comes to this system, as we understand every county is slightly different in many ways. So as we're looking all these core functionality areas, we do understand not only informing folks on what is changing, but then also engaging them to get that kind of real feel well before the actual release comes out. So in addition to those mitigation strategies, we already identified that we need those tailored engagements. And with consortium's collaboration, we identified that we need to do demonstrations. And specifically, those enhanced regional demonstrations will be broken out, one by stakeholder group. So there's 3 core groups that we're going to be working with when informing who the audience needs to be. And then also by those type of functionalities. So such as like the appointment management systems, the workload management systems, and those administrative pages as well. When it comes to the changes and overall what we started to notice, because there's everyday changes such as like filtering when during scheduling, when it comes to updated features on uploading templates during workload reassignment, and pages that counties will even be able to adopt and choose to embrace versus what they'll also see on a daily basis. We then understand that really clarifying in also broken out communications in addition to those other core OCM activities is how we're going to make sure folks really understand, okay, what's definitely going to be on those everyday type of experiences versus what are going to be beneficial enhancements that counties can identify that they want to really advertise for their staff to take advantage of. So I'm going to pause right here because I know that really dove into what's really changing and how we're really adjusting with consortium on how to best prep staff for it. And as you see on the slide, kind of this is the overview of activities we've accomplished and what's to come around the corner. So I'm going to pause here in case there's any core questions.
Do we have any questions from or comments from the PSC? Any public comment? Doesn't look like it, Allison. Okay, so is that the piece for workload management, Allison, or do you have any more to go on this topic?
Specifically, these are the OCM activities that, as you saw, are for January, February accomplished and coming around the corner for March and April. And so, of course, we're going to be really excited to also support on that phase 2 element. But this is just a highlight specifically for phase 1 through that May release. And if there's any additional questions, of course, always feel free to reach out after the fact. But this is just going to be a highlight of what we've noticed and what we're doing in specific relation to this redesign. So that's going to be it for OCM for now.
Right.
Thank you very much. Okay, so moving along, and now we have a benefits update, and we have Frederick, owner in Vado.
Hi, this is Frederick. Let me make sure I get my camera on here. There we go. Okay, so we're going to, I'm going to go over the HR1 work groups that we started for the Benefits Cal team. Just a little background. Back when HR1 hit, we created work groups on the CalScience core side, and then we created Benefits Cal work groups to mirror those work groups. So what we have, the first one is the CalFresh processing work group. We've had 3 milestones, and we have 1 more scheduled for the beginning of March, middle to March there. But out of those first 3 milestones, we've gathered actionable insights around the cause of the impacts of the CalFresh error, concentrating on both sides of the error situation. So where the workers can make some changes, as well as where the customers and the advocates, the CBOs that help the customers, we can make things a little bit more easier for them to process information and provide us information. Moving on to the next work group. So our ABOD work group, that one is also in full swing right now. Our 3rd meeting will be next week, and then we'll have another follow-up milestone at the UCD meeting. This work group was a little bit different because we had already had some of the baseline for the ABOD requirements over the last couple of years. But then when HR1 hit, we had to make some changes and tweaks. So our advocate community gave us a spreadsheet of requirements, and we've been working through those requirements, hashing them out. And then by the end of our milestone 3, we'll be able to bundle those requirements and bring them back to the UCD meeting with the proposed changes. The next work group. The HR1 Advocate Truth work group. This is the income verification software that we're going to partner with to make this available for the customers through Benefits Cal. We have had our first meeting on the 12th. We'll have another meeting next week, and then we'll, then we'll be able to present those at our milestone for milestone 3 in our upcoming UCD meeting as well. And that one is moving very quickly so that we can meet a deadline for that one as well. And then the last one is our Medi-Cal, HR1 Medi-Cal work group. It has not begun yet, but we are scheduled for March. That meeting should be coming out to all of the stakeholders, DHCS, and as well as our advocate partners for a beginning in March. And then we'll work through 3 milestones for that, and then we'll present at UCD as the others. And now I will turn it over to the owner.
Thank you, Fred. Good morning, everyone. Honor Salman here from the Benefits Cal team. Following the work group updates, since we started calendar year 2026 recently, we just wanted to share some key metrics and highlights from the calendar year 2025. But before that, just a quick refresher. You may remember Benefits Cal portal went live in September 2021. And with C4 counties, 39 C4 counties, expanded to LA County, then Calvin counties joined us, becoming a statewide portal around October 2023. And as we ended calendar year 2025, the total number of applications we received since September 2021 reached over 8.4 million applications. And during the calendar year 2025 itself, the number of applications, new applications we received is 2.2 million applications. Again, similarly, from the accounts creation perspective, since 2021, the total number of accounts created, customer accounts created, is over 6.7 million customer accounts created and over 18,000 CBO accounts created. And within the calendar year 2025, number of customer accounts created brand new is 1.5 million and 2,500 CBO accounts created. And documents upload standpoint, we are getting very close to 100 million documents since go live, since 2021. But within the calendar year 2025, this number is contribution perspective is 29.5, like close to 30 million documents uploaded. From the daily logins perspective, we saw a slight increase of this year over the previous year. Usually we were ranging around 150,000 to 200,000 daily login activity. In calendar year 2025, this increased from 200 to 250,000 daily login activities during the weekdays. And from the renewals and the application standpoint across the programs, customers, what percentage you see on the right-hand side is the percentage of the customers preferring to use the online channel in comparison to other channels. And I'm not going to go through one by one for these categories, but you can see the metrics. There is some, tendencies we see on the customer behavior. Sometimes it's sociological, sometimes it's individual concerns of our vulnerable population. Instead of sharing their information online, they prefer in-person or the mail channels. But within the calendar year 2025, but overall, we see a really, consistent and strong trends from the metric standpoint in the calendar year. If you can move on to the next slide, please. So in the previous steering committee meetings, you heard us multiple times highlighting the CalSAL's objectives, like including enhancing the self-service access, enhancing the end user experience, and providing support and streamlining the administrative processes. Along those lines, we implemented over 100 enhancements during the calendar year 2025. But the main themes or the key themes to share with our steering committee, if you wanted to do that, that would be three main areas that we focused on: doc upload, customer dashboard, and as well as the account creation and the login. One of the things we have been consistently hearing from our customers, counties, our advocacy partners, as well as our policy state partners, is document upload becoming an important piece of the customer experience. And historically, customers were able to upload multiple documents at once, but they wanted to upload multiple document types also as well in single session. So multiple documents for multiple document types to make it easier and faster for them. And also requested consistency across different channels for doc uploads, such as AFP flows and then CBO dashboard, customer dashboard, anonymous flow. So we implemented consistency across these experiences. Overall, we not only implemented those changes, but also focused on KPIs to measure the usability and the impact. And from the key highlight standpoint, what we saw is we see a reduction of the customers who are dropping off, initiating a doc upload from 11.1% to 1.6%, which is an improvement. And also a conversion rate of the documents who are attempting to upload and failing, and they have to reattempt, it dropped by 6%. And also the average time the customers were spending while uploading a document also decreased by 6 minutes. These are based on the enhancements delivered during the calendar year 2025. From the customer dashboard standpoint, what we were hearing consistently was, what is really important for these customers? What is the priority? So we did a revamp of the customer dashboard to prioritize on the screen based on their cognitive load. And also EBT transactions or EBT functionality was a very frequently used feature on the dashboard. So we made some also improvements on EBT features as well. Overall, from the impact standpoint, we saw a 57.7% less time spent by customers to search their transaction history. So they were able to locate that information faster than the previous years, as well as they were spending less time to enter transaction history, transaction entries manually for potential fraudulent transactions they were suspecting. So they were able to select and send it instead of manually typing it. So it was a significant reduction there too. Last but not least, from the account creation perspective, which is an important component of the customer experience too, we made a series of changes to make it simpler and make it consistent across CBO and both of our CBO population as well as the customers to streamline it, at the same time make it less confusing for the customers. And from the impact standpoint, what you see here is like 18.5% reduction on the login failures overall in the calendar year 2025 in comparison to previous years. And then also 9.6% reduction in terms of the errors that we saw during the account creation itself. So overall, thank you so much for our stakeholders, counties, advocacy partners, and our stakeholders and state partners as well. In terms of their feedback during these improvements in the calendar year 2025, I think we are going in the right direction to accomplish our CalSOS objectives. Of course, it is a continuous improvement journey. If you can go to the next slide, which is our last one. So I'm not going to go through one by one, but these are the key things and the feedback we have been hearing from our customers when we were talking to them as part of our focus group sessions or UCD research sessions we were facilitating. We have been hearing a really positive feedback in terms of the experience they have been getting when they were using the portal. This makes us happy and keeps us motivated to improve them even further. With that, Sandra, handing it back to you and for any questions.
Thank you, Honor. And I really love to see all the enhancements that Benefits Cal has gone over through this last year. I do have a quick question before we move on to public PSC comment. For Truve through Benefits Cal, when would we move to the phasing it into CalSOS? Because this is an area where we would see more of the workers leveraging it to ping the customer and letting them know that they are in need of income. And the reason why I ask that is because although we continue to work to improve the amount of people that actually are leveraging Benefits Cal, we know that we're still, at least some of the higher counties, we're at like 50% users having a benefits account. And so trying to figure out how do we get the most out of Truve, because right now we're trying to use as much technology as possible with the work number, and we were hoping that Truve would be accessible for the workers as well, and the workers do not work out of Benefits Cal. So I'm thinking that for Truve, it's going to look more like a self-service where the customer would have the choice to import their information into Benefits Cal, but it's going to be up to the customer, and it's going to be only for those who are working within Benefits Cal. So when would the next phase be for CalSOS?
Can I jump in there for a second, Sandra?
Yes.
I think what we want to clarify is we have to get the user journey identified first, right? That intake portion. So they're working on the customer journeys. A goal has always been for it to be end to end, right? Just similar to imaging, where it starts there and it makes its way into the core. That will continue to occur, and but we have to get those journeys solidified first in terms of design of the intake of those incomes, and then we will work on the other piece. But this piece has to get identified first in the first phase. The timing of that, we will continue to update just depending on the configuration of Truve, when the other side of it will be, worked on. But right now we have to focus on, this piece. So owner wouldn't really be in a position to say the win on that piece until we finish this initial requirements gathering. Does that make sense? Am I being? I'm trying to stretch my neck up towards the microphone. So
It makes sense. Yeah, and I'm sorry if this technically wasn't a benefits cal question. It was more of a phase 2 question, just because I think if we could get this type of access to our staff, it would be we would see more usage out of it. That's my biggest push for is that staff have access to all this technology.
Foresight is there with the catcher's mitt. They're ready as soon as we can, move to that phase. So we're ready to go.
Thank you for that, Julia. Okay, moving to questions or comments from the PSC.
Sean has her hand raised.
Sean?
Thank you. Sean Emil, Region 6. Thank you so much for this honor. I have a question and a recommendation. I think it would be really great to see, as some of the previous presenters have shown, of what are some of the enhancements going to CalSAWS, and at the same time, are there any enhancements that are matching up on the benefits Cal side? Because we know that anything that we're doing, I'm kind of really focusing on the HR1 changes and even in some of the Medi-Cal state changes. How some of these changes on our CalSAWS systems, is there any impact to the operations on CalSAWS, right? So I would like to see something as the comparison, saying, is there a equivalent enhancement related to those? And then secondly, I know that they're still getting, some good focus groups and getting information from our customers. I think it would be also beneficial to include some focus on some of these HR1 changes, and saying, knowing that you might have to see if you qualify for an exemption. What is the kind of stuff you want to see on Benefits Cal? How would you want to be able to submit your exemption verification or request? How would you want to approve your verification of meeting work requirements? Like, how do you feel like that's going to be helping you? And do you think this, so you know what I'm saying, like the user piece of it, because we want to make sure that we're communicating to our customers of what the requirements are, but also, is our Benefits Cal platform going to meet the needs of that, right? And if it's not, what do we have to do to meet that enhancement? So just wanted to put that out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Thanks for the feedback.
Can I respond?
Was there a response in the room?
Okay, Fred wants to address that.
Yes.
Thank you for that feedback, Sean. Yes, we do have a slide that has the corresponding HR1 updates for Benefits Cal that match the core updates as well. We can take that as an action item to make sure we add that slide, for our next meeting. But we do have those for you. So
that'd be great. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for that. I see Dell's hand.
Yes, thank you. So I have a follow-up to Fred's and Sean's question there, and then I have a couple for honors, if I can take the time there. So real quick, on the work groups and the findings that you have and the requirements that are being identified by the advocates and CWDA and the leadership and whatnot, is there a plan where that's going to be shared with counties so that they are aware of those changes that are coming into Benefits Cal? And I say that because I think there's a lot of interest. We do get a lot of questions. There may be folks that are not involved in that process, right? But they're still coming to the county and asking for, hey, when are you going to make those changes to Benefits Cal? So if we know what's coming up, then I think that would be helpful for our folks that are working with advocates or with customers and whatnot. So is there a plan there, Fred, to share that at some point?
we are planning to share those out at the UCD meetings, which the counties are a part of. But if there is a need for extra, we can definitely, do that in some other venue. We can discuss that with our customer engagement and determine which way would be the best way to get that out to the counties.
Yeah, I noticed that the representatives did not include the counties on the slides, and that's why I was asking that. If the counties are included in the last step, is what you're saying, that might be sufficient, right? As long as we have some sort of a visibility into what has been identified, I think that would be great. Then on to the other questions. As far as the Benefits Cal adoption, I think that, Sandra, you asked a little bit about this, right? And the fact that we know that we're trending up, and LA County, I think we're doing well, right? I think we're like a 52% or whatnot, considering the caseload at LA County. But I was wondering, what's the ceiling? Like for this service channel, what is it that we expect, right? And I think that's a question we're asking also internally. And I was wondering if the project has looked at, either industry standard or other government entity standards as far as self-service portal. And what is the adoption rate that we're expecting out of the caseload or out of the population that we serve? Is that something that is available? Is that something that can be shared? And if it's not, is that something that we can research so that we can make that available to counties?
Yeah, we did do some research on that previously. Del, I think for us, California, we're special, right? We're a little unique. And so we do have some baseline data that we had collected previously. What we also have noticed is that in certain counties, it's not California benchmark, right? It's some counties, they are already at critical mass in terms of adoption, and other counties aren't. And so we're going to have to take a little bit more of a surgical approach in terms of adoption, probably by region, just to make sure that we're making an informed effort. Some are really high in terms of adoption. Some are lower than where they want to. And so as we move from transition also to a censure on the benefits Cal side, that is one of the priorities.
And, as we're looking internally, just to share, right, we consider the fact that we have about 4 different channels.
Yeah.
Right. So we're trying to, go ahead.
Do you want, I'm happy to share what that research provided, from outside, for the counties in terms of what's good enough, but also some counties want it higher, some want it lower, but, happy to share that out to the counties if that's helpful.
Yeah, no, that would be very helpful, I think, for the county staff. We will definitely take it. When we look at it, we're looking at the different channels, and so we're trying to assess, having a very large call center like we do, what makes sense is in terms of what's the offload off to benefits Cal, right? So we're trying to hit that sweet spot. Now, on the next question, I was wondering, you had a percentage there was a drop in the documents that were retried by customers. Do you have the number on the total number or the percentage of documents that were retried total? I know you have the reduction of them. Maybe you can share after the meeting or whatnot, just so that we know it used to be this much and now is this, right? So that gives us some sense as to how many documents our customers having to retry.
Yeah, we do. So every time we have a unique identifier, technically you understand that, right? You also really the technical person. We create a unique identifier at the document level and at the session level when it's right. We do have those numbers. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, sounds good. I think I'll leave it at that. Thank you guys very much for the updates. I think you've done an awesome job on the benefits Cal side, increasing the adoption, but I think there's room for more, obviously, always, and really appreciate the partnership. Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you, Dale.
Thank you, Dale. All right. I don't see any more questions from the PSC. So moving on to public comment. So I see Jen's hand.
Hi, thanks. I have a few comments because there was a lot of slides. Do I need to just list them all at once, or do I do them one at a time?
If you can list them all at once, and then we'll answer your questions at the end.
Okay, great. So back to the HR1 CalFresh processing work group. First, just wanted to say thank you for the thoughtfulness of these spaces. It's been really helpful to go through the facilitated kind of design process, and I feel like it's brought out a lot of really good feedback and insights. And so I'm wondering if those notes and findings will also be shared to CDSS and PHCS, as they're also kind of trying to think about and explore where there are like pain points and opportunities to reduce errors. So that's my first one. Second one, the benefits Cal key metrics. It's really great to see all these metrics, and kind of similarly to some of the other comments, I'm curious about, of the 1.5 million accounts created, how many of those are for currently active cases? Like it sounds like there's some counties that are at 50%. So if there's a plan to share some of that baseline information and then something else to kind of show like overall how are we doing either county by county or as a state, like that I think would help make these metrics more meaningful. For the CBO accounts that are created, it says there's 2.5 or 2,500 CBO accounts. I just want to confirm if that's CBOs or if it's assisters within a number of CBOs, because I think it's actually 2,500 assisters, but I'm not sure. And then for the annual roundup of the successes of the different enhancements, I hadn't seen the stats for this yet, and I just wanted to celebrate the work that's been done and the positive impacts for that. And especially with the EBT transactions, that was an issue that was brought forward to us by a customer. And it was really great to see how quickly Benefits Cal moved to address the concerns that were raised and now to see that big impact. So just the last thing was similarly to another comment. I'd also love to see any information about a reduction in people having to resubmit documents or re-upload information. So I think that's it. I can repeat them one at a time if needed.
I have them. I noted them. So the first one is notes and findings. Will that be shared with CDSS or other state partners? Who can answer that? Thank you.
This is Frederick. Yes, they are a part of the work groups. They attend policy, so they get the meeting minutes, the meeting notes, the recorded videos as well. So they are very well versed in what's happening in the work groups.
Thank you for that. And then moving over to benefits, the key metrics, and also looking at the CBO accounts, and are those assisters or actual CBOs? So
They are assisters, yeah, they are assisters, Jen. You're right with your assumption. In terms of the other recommendation, we can take it back and see what we do, because we meet with you for specific metrics related. How many of these customers you were saying converted to actual cases, right? We may need to take a look and see if we can build that, connect the dots and build that bridge or not. But I hear your recommendation. Thank you.
In owner for those benefit key metrics, are we able to leverage other county or state, other states to see how our metrics relate to what other areas look like?
You mean the other states outside of California, Sandra?
Yeah, just to see how we're where we're at with our metrics. Do they align?
I think that, Julia was addressing that, I believe. California is unique in terms of the complexity. There has been some analysis that have been done, but I will let you chime in, Julia, if you would like to share anything.
Yeah, we just, I mean, our portal is very unique in terms of the types of programs and the scale, right? So we really don't get to measure like for like, because it's not apples to apples in terms of adoption. And so we do have information, but it's very anecdotal, Sandra. So we can't say, are we doing better or are we doing worse? We just don't have that type of perspective or insight.
Thank you so much for that. And then the last one was any information on the reduction of people. And I think that was based on the individuals resubmitting documents.
So there is no reduction in the people. There is reduction in the time that is spent while they were uploading the documents. So there is also improvement in drop-off rate when they were leaving the application just because it was too complicated before. So that's the drop-off rate decreased like 11.1% to 1 point. So they, instead of leaving the session because they're confused, they are no longer doing that. So and completing the actual upload activity, the action itself in the dashboard. I think, Sandra, you're on mute. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Jen, I think I got them all, but if I missed something, let me know.
Yeah, I don't think it was about owner and a reduction in people. It was more about like, is there a reduction in how, if somebody has to resubmit a document that they already submitted?
Oh, that is basically the 6% is where the reduction, that's the conversion rate increased by 6%, meaning like when they were selecting multiple documents at once, right, Jen, it is now many to many. You can upload multiple documents for multiple document types at the same time. And it was erroring out from the overall a reduction. We saw a reduction in the error because historically there were more errors happening when customers are trying to attempt one by one at each document type. We saw a drop. But if you want a specific metric on that angle, we can take it back. And for the other metrics meeting we have, we can see if we have that information to be shared with you specifically.
Oh, okay. I think I was thinking more like if I upload a document one day and then I get a failure to provide notice and I have to go back and re-upload the document like on a different day. I don't know if there's a way to measure that.
I have to channel my inner Albert here with the back and forth for public comment. So we have to kind of close this, and we're also running over time, Sandra. So we need to wrap up this public portion. Sorry, Jen.
Sorry, Jen. Okay, I don't see any other public comment. And we'll take that information, Jen. The next piece up is the collaboration model advisory work group recommendations, and this is going to be Ashley Arnold.
Please let me know if you can hear me or if I sound spotty. I tried to turn my camera on. I wish I could have been there in person today, but I can't get out of my driveway. So we'll see how this goes.
We can hear you.
We met. Oh, wonderful. Okay, but if it like skips or anything funky, please let me know. We met with the advisory group in late January to prioritize the list of initiative requests that all of the different groups submitted. It was definitely a learning experience. It was very positive. I extend my thanks again to all of the work group members. This is the prioritized list of the initiative requests that they all brought forward. They are in order here. I'm going to go through quickly a summary of each one on the following slides, but this is the order that they put them in as far as importance. So if you could go ahead one slide, we'll go through them. The first one is the customer change reporting assistant, and this is really a fun idea to provide guided support to customers reporting a change. So the basics of the idea is if someone is saying, reporting through Benefits Cal, my address changed, they would have a virtual assistant type thing that would say, okay, your address changed. Do you also need to report any changes in your living expenses? And really what this is trying to accomplish is to help the customer submit as much information at the time so that there's less back and forth for clarification for the worker to really reduce delays in processing and, eventually just potential discontinuances. The next idea is the real-time secure upload and e-signature link. And this is just to explore another way for workers to obtain documents from their customers. So right now, rather than only uploading through Benefits Cal, being able to send them a one-time secure link that the worker could generate to get a document back in real time. This would sync. The idea is that the documents would sync automatically through to Benefits Cal. And really what we're trying to do is remove document submission barriers and enable the workers to have first contact resolution. So really exciting to explore this. If you could go forward. The next one is enhanced upload categorization in Benefits Cal. And this one is aiming to look at how documents are categorized and give it a more structured model that organizes documents into broader categories with specific subcategories. So along the lines, nobody's surprised, I think, to see ideas for improving document imaging. The next one is has some similar elements to really look at how do we clarify for customers which case in Benefits Cal they should be submitting to so that they can have a successful submission to the correct case for the workers to see. And to also improve the categorization of the release of information so workers can easily find it. And also to engage our workers to uncover any barriers in locating documents, if that means more training, clarification there, really explore how we can make it better for them as well. If you could go forward. The next one is improving the application and renewal flow. This one would explore ways to improve the Medi-Cal application and renewal process. The goal here would be to reduce the number of screens necessary in those flows, perhaps look at including only program relevant questions, increasing the likelihood of e-verifications, and increasing the use of dynamic functionality so that the application and renewal can be more intuitive to how the user is completing it and going through it. The next one is an idea to explore language access, ways to improve how customers that do not communicate in English can use the portal. The idea to look at exploring alternative characters, and right now we have that limitation where they can't type in their own language. So if that's still a barrier, maybe we can have a way to have them submit a PDF to the worker, so they could treat that like a paper application or document received in another language. Also to explore allowing users of BenefitsCal to report if a screen has a translation error so that we can get direct information from the customer if something isn't exactly accurate in their language. If you could go forward, please. And then the next two, account creation and login, looking at ways to improve how accounts are created and the login experience. Looking at MFA, we know that is a security requirement, but how can we increase the options for receiving a code, perhaps maybe a phone call if the code isn't sent via text, or if their texts are limited, maybe reducing the number of times MFA is required, or if they have a trusted device. And also looking at including better guidance for account creation, such as adding audio translations to videos rather than just captions, or being able to tie the application number to the account rather than only when it's finally created as a case, and just looking at other ways to improve the process as a whole. And then finally, driving customer action. This is exploring ways to enhance the portal as far as the customer's dashboard, a way to further highlight upcoming deadlines, required actions, kind of bolstering document upload status in real time, and ensuring that there are as many self-service tools as possible to facilitate reporting changes during a certification period, better FAQs and help features. And also this one, we'd like to look and see if some of the elements of this one might be also customer change reporting assistant initiative as well. If you could go forward. So next steps, the CalSAWS teams are working to build the initiative request project type in JIRA. This will allow us to tie resulting SCRs to that project type for tracking purposes and reporting. Then we will move into initiating the UCD process, including that first research step. And as that moves along, the BenefitsCal team will meet to work the resulting projects into the overall roadmap, right? We know we've got a lot of changes coming forward, like everything's a priority, right? We've got our HR1 priorities, ongoing changes. So how do those fit in to the roadmap as a whole? We will provide updates at our quarterly stakeholder meetings, and we will also have a mid-year checkpoint in June just to see, where are we with these items? How do they fit into the overall picture of everything else that is so needing to be done as a priority, and really, see how the process is moving as it's the first iteration of this new process, and check in to make sure that we're successful as we move along. That is all I have for you. I'll turn it back to Sandra.
Thank you, Ashley. Those are all really great recommendations. Do I have any questions, or do we have any questions or comments from the PSC? Okay. Seeing none, moving on to any public comment, and I see Jen's hand.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the update, Ashley, and thanks again for this really helpful process. Do you have any timelines for the first two steps of the next steps that you shared?
Yes, sorry, I had a little bit of a glitch there. We are looking to meet pretty quickly here. I know February has really flown by to get that the project type into JIRA which is going to be interesting because we also have to work that in with the changes that we've made in Benefits CalJIRA to allow us to indicate a public-facing change. I'm hoping to get that scheduled in the next couple of weeks internally. We do have a framework that we can build upon in CalSA's core JIRA, so I'm hoping it's going to be a really good lift and shift. So we should have some updates for you soon. And then, sorry about the UCD process. That one I'll have to get back to you on because we need to see how much we can accomplish with that first item. We want to make sure we can track these from the jump so that we're not trying to trace back, piece by piece.
Thank you for that. Any additional public comments? Okay, seeing none. Moving on to Gen AI call summarization update, and this is going to be Dawn.
Yep, thank you. So first I want to reacquaint you with the whole call summarization concept for just a second. A lot of you would have heard this as Fresno Gen AI. So we are talking about that same concept where a call transcript is basically summarized for the agent to allow them to sort of springboard and save time, if you will, in terms of their next steps in the call process. So frequently we get the question of, couldn't we have just taken that and copied it over to everyone else? This is really meant to answer that question, which was that the current call summarization solution that was piloted with Fresno definitely did what it was meant to do, which is prove out that there is business value. And so the pilot was successful. There was business value with it. But as we went to look at, could we just simply replicate that across the other counties with contact centers? The answer to that was we really were lacking in that pilot that was put together, the ability to configure for the other counties, and it did not scale in an easy manner, along with the fact that technology had moved on from the point that that pilot was done to today. So in the interest of being able to make this more scalable, affordable, more configurable to support a couple of main workflows that we have out there in the counties, we started to evaluate the state of technology as it is today, worked with AWS on figuring out how we could better integrate this into the product suite that we were using on Contact Center already. And the results of that is we are now ready to start rolling out to those counties who would like this functionality. Under the hood, it is a different solution. It uses a lot of the same base technologies, the same ideas that were used in Fresno, and the look and feel of the Fresno solution was good, and that pilot proved out that it was, and so we are also re-leveraging that as well. We are really just making the underlying parts of the solution more configurable, scalable, easier to maintain, etc. So if we could go to the next slide, let's talk. So that's where we came from. Let's talk about where we're going. I am going to talk a little bit about each of these colored bars on an upcoming slide, so I'm not going to drain it here. Just wanted to see the timeline that we're on. That green bar really was us getting ready to try out the new underlying solution, if you will, in one county. The blue bar is that activity to actually pilot with that county. Then we have the gray bar, which is really pre-rollout. So for those of you who wish to have the call summarization functionality added to the contact center, we will be having meetings on what are all of the activities that you need to do in the county to be ready for this. And then we'll go into a series of implementation groups. So if we could go to the next slide, I'm going to talk a little more in depth about these, and I'll try to go quickly because I know we could use the time. So in terms of that pilot prep and the pilot itself, we have completed all the technical solution. I just talked about that we have the new way we're going to roll this to make it scalable. We are continuing to finalize that new sort of under the hood, if you will, approach, working with AWS on that to make sure that we have that tightly integrated into the contact center product. We will be piloting. We've actually started our readiness activities already, and we will are planning to conclude that pilot in April of this year. Assuming that all goes as we plan, we would start rollout to the rest of the contact center counties who choose to opt in June. If we can go, so that's the pre-prep area before the rest of you get involved. If we go to the next one, pre-rollout, what does that look like? So that is us really sitting down with those counties who fill out your CURFE. So you did get a CURFE this week to fill out to let us know that you want to be involved in the call summarization solution. That CURFE is important that you get it back to us at this moment. We put together a draft potential order of battle with the counties as it relates to everyone opting in. If you choose not to opt in, though, we will certainly take you off that draft schedule. So do be sure that you check that you have that CURFE and that you get it back to us, because you are opting in or not to having call summarization added to your solution. Once we get to this point and we know that you want to join, we will be doing data gathering sessions with you. We will figure out what configurations we need. We'll walk you through all of the materials, the design, how it works, and we'll go through all the things that you need to accomplish to be ready. And there is a readiness checklist attached to that CURFE. So if you're interested in what those particular activities are, that is on the CURFE. And then, of course, we will go through training materials and train the trainer sessions with you. We can go to the next slide. We then start the implementations itself. We've got 4 groups that we're planning. During this period, we expect you to complete any final readiness activities. We will be providing some on-site support. There will also be post-implementation support, sometimes referred to by the project as the hypercare calls. And as I said, 4 implementation groups will be staggering counties within those groups. So not everybody starts in that group on the same day. We'll be working with each county in a group to figure out the exact day you'll be going live in that time period. And then we did start out, because a couple of the counties had put in actual requests to get call summarization. They did get moved to the front of the list. But again, if that's not where they want to be, that's a part of responding to the CURFE again. Let us know that the proposed group, if you want to opt in, let us know that the proposed grouping time frame works for you, or it doesn't, and we will be contacting each county individually. This is also being discussed in the regular contact center meetings as well. With that, I believe that was the last of the slides, if I'm not mistaken, and it would be back for questions and comments.
Thank you, Dawn. For this call summarization, are we going to get a chance to see a demo?
Yeah, so they will demo in the contact center meetings for your staff who attend those. We will also be at the conference, which is not coming up until June, but we will be there as well. And we can also work out with counties who would like a pre-demo in those pre-meetings. We'll do it there as well.
And I know in the past, even for the Fresno AI project, we got a little mini demo here at PSC. Is that going to be a possibility?
Yeah, we are going to also put together a little video that you can access yourself, and we'll get that out through the contact center group as well.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the PSC? Okay, seeing none. Oh, Dal?
Sorry, I was slow to find the button. Because you are evaluating the Amazon Connect contact lens for this call summarization, right? As I see it as a possible replacement. It sounds like it's a pretty much a done deal. Do you anticipate, or do you have any concerns or any outstanding items from Amazon that could delay this process? Are you banking on it, having Amazon develop functionality for this, for what we need?
So you probably heard some of the prior slides in which, prior presentations in which we were looking at a particular solution. We have now moved to a solution which is fully generally available from AWS. So the short answer to your question is no, I'm not waiting on AWS for any product update at this time.
There's no dependency on having them make their product available. This is fully available, and the functionality that is needed to replace what Fresno did with the other technology is ready to go and we're, okay.
That is correct. We are integrating together a few products that are available from AWS that are already generally available. So no, I am not currently waiting on AWS for any.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Any other comments from PSC? Okay. Moving on to any public comment?
Yeah, this has been a major concern for.
Kevin?
Yeah, I'm Kevin Aslanian with the Coalition of California Welfare Rights Organizations. And contact center call centers has been a major problem for beneficiaries. In fact, it's a major cause of the error rate that we have in California. So if you're going to do a demo, we're wondering if that would be open to advocates. And we would like to be involved in this process, if that's okay.
Yeah, I think, Kevin, when we share it, we'll certainly share the demo of the call summarization in this forum. It's essentially, we've done it before in this forum, so we have no problem doing that. So yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay.
If I have any concerns, is it okay if I contact Don about this?
No, you would want to go through our PIO on that, Kevin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Know,
I have to go to Ashley, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
You're welcome.
I thought it was a free country.
It is. You're free to contact.
Thank you, Kevin. Okay, any other public comment? Okay, moving on to our next topic. Thank you, Don. Is the CalSauce Learning Exchange, and this will be Peggy.
Morning, excuse me. Good morning, everyone. I am Peggy Macias. I'm the Customer Engagement Director, and I'm happy to report out on our current activities with our CalSauce Learning Exchange sessions. So just as a reminder, our CalSauce Learning sessions provide timely and relevant education for the counties on topics that they have identified or that we've identified, and also gives them an opportunity for question and answers real time. We assess the topics that we identify as possible challenges for the counties, and where appropriate, we hold these sessions to better assist the counties. Whenever possible, we really like that we invite counties to participate in our CalSauce Learning Exchange sessions and provide real-time best practices or experience in whatever the topic is that we're discussing. We also align with the other project teams in developing our CalSauce roadmap to avoid any redundancies and ensure that the identifications of the relevant topics gets addressed. I'm also going to say that other teams are currently using our CLE session format to provide the educational sessions for the counties. And we know that it makes sense for the project to have a standard format for these educational opportunities. And in order to ensure consistency, we're using our current customer engagement planning document as a base for a formal process document, and we'll provide that to the other teams when it's completed. So we have consistent feeling amongst the counties on the look and feel of an experience for ongoing CLE sessions. Next slide, please. So as we speak, we are in the throes of completing our February CalSauce Learning Exchange. This CalSauce Learning Exchange this month is on the communication portal. This session is providing the end user, current web portal users, an overview of the new communication portal, as well as a demonstration. This new communication portal will replace the current web portal. And the goal upon concluding these sessions is for county staff who currently have access to the web portal to have gained enough knowledge to confidently use the new communication portal. We are tracking the number of participants that are attending, as well as how many counties are being represented. We also invite our state partners to these sessions, and they attend as they can. Next slide, please. So here is our calendar that we've come up with for 2026. So in February, the last session of the communications portal is being conducted today. We offered 3 sessions on the 17th, 18th, and then the final session is this afternoon. In March is going to be a session on delegated administrators. And in April, we'll have a skipped issuance report, and I won't read all the different sessions that are on here as you can see them, but I will say that this schedule may be revised as a result of other priorities coming up and or availability of the staff that we need to participate in them. We are also currently working with the state CDSS on a possible CLE collaboration on CalFresh payment error rate. And so we'll be identifying the date, and they're working on the meat and potatoes of what that session is going to be like now. So we'll have more updates hopefully by next month on that session. Next slide. So to end this, our next steps are for upcoming sessions. Counties receive notifications on these CLE sessions via broadcast notification, and they get meeting invites that we send out to the PPOCs to ensure that the right folks are in attendance. If counties have valuable best practices, lessons learned, or business process to share on any of the topics, we encourage them to let their regional managers know that they would like to be considered for inclusion in a specific presentation. So that's really why we try to get the calendar as far in advance so counties can be aware of as to what's coming up. And then finally, if you have your county or region has a request for a topic, please submit those to your regional manager for consideration and also indicate the level of priority. Okay, next slide. I think that's it. So I'll turn it back to you, Sandra.
Thank you, Peggy. Any questions or comments from the PSC?
Hi, yes, I had one question for Peggy. This is Sean, Region 6. I saw your previous slide that said you're working with CDSS on, doing learning specifically to the CalFresh error rate. Is, Peggy, the goal that there's going to be one or maybe like a couple of sessions like broad on common errors, or will they be more specific on these learning exchange sessions for counties where it could be, per CDSS, like these are the common errors in LA County, or these are the common errors, because I think they vary somewhat from the counties. Is it just kind of more holistic, or would it be more individualized?
No, it is going to be more holistic, and I'm going to reach out to Nicole. She captured all the notes from the session we had with CDSS to add as I provide my report out. But it is going to be more whole. It's going to be more historical on, this is what it was, and this is how we did it, and this is, how it's determined, the PER is determined. And now with the new changes, this and that's being implemented, then here's, all the new things that are relevant.
Yeah,
Nicole,
Sean, this isn't about the CDSS had separate meetings on what I think what you're asking. What this is helping counties understand the methodology, because there was a lot
behind the PER.
Yeah.
Got
Does
it.
Okay.
Thank you, Julia. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you, Peggy.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you for that. Any other comments or questions from PSC? Okay, moving on to any public comment. All right, seeing none, we'll move to the next topic, and it's the transition update, and that is going to go to Rajesh and Lisa.
I'll start and then hand it over to Lisa. So again, good morning, Rajesh Taliani, CalSAS PM. This will be the last time we'll be providing an update on the CalSAS M&E transition because we successfully completed that end of January, big milestone for us. We have been operating and maintaining the production system since November 1st. In the last 90 days, we have done multiple releases, planned releases, multiple priority releases, successful COLA runs with no major issues. Overall, I think the transition has gone well. And now our focus shifts to, we do have some big releases coming up in March and May. In addition to that, we'll shift our focus to the modernization of the system. I do want to say one more time, big thank you to Accenture. They were very collaborative and cooperative, and we will be sure to return the favor as they start their Benefit Cal journey. With that, I don't have anything else on the transition front. I think it has gone better than we expected, and all in all good. I know Julia.
Yeah, no, before we get to the next transition, it's like we don't get a chance to catch our breath. Victory lap for this team on, no one could have had a crystal ball and anticipated on top of a major transition that we would also have HR1 and we would have all these changes and all this uncertainty. And, despite that, this team was able to deliver and pivot and coordinate across our vendors and the consortium. And I think I know I've said this before, super proud and super appreciative for everyone showing up and putting our counties and their customers first. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Julia. Any questions before I hand over to Lisa?
All right, hearing none. Hello, everyone. I think last time we met, I was M&E project manager. If I could switch hats, I would. I mean, the accent isn't going to change, but I'm coming to you today as the incoming Benefits Cal project manager. So very happy to be here with you all. For many of you, I think you've met me before. For those who haven't, it's been a 20-year plus journey for me, and I love being here to serve the counties, your workers, and the beneficiaries. So just to recap how we got here, at the end of January, on the 29th of the JPA board meeting, the Benefits Cal contract, a new agreement was signed and approved by the board. And we started the very next Monday. So we are on week 3 of transition for Benefits Cal. It's been a very busy 3 weeks. And as Julia and Rajesh said, we're all here collaborating together. We've had a lot of lessons learned as we've gone through the first transitions, and we're definitely applying those as we move forward. We know how important the portal is, and to have it available, reliable, and stable, and really to have a seamless transition in the next 6 months so that the portal is available and services continue to our beneficiaries here in California. This is just a quick slide with some very tiny pictures listing our key staff. We have multiple folks that have started on the project, including myself. It's a mix of new faces and familiar faces for you all. So the team is excited and engaged, and we're ready to continue and move this transition forward. Let's go to the next slide. So from a timeline perspective, it is a 6-month transition. So started again, we're on week 3, and we'll be continuing through end of July, end of summer. What we see here is we have a number of work streams. There's functional, technical, management work streams, security. And for each of those work streams, similar to the other transitions, we go through some very distinct phases, starting with knowledge transfer, going through job shadowing, reverse job shadowing. So the great news is this week, we have actually already conducted 3 knowledge transfer sessions. We have another one today. And, we're still completing that list of knowledge transfer, but I think we're up over about 80 sessions that are being planned and still need to be scheduled. The goal being that we complete knowledge transfer for most areas by the end of March so that we can continue those job shadow and then reverse job shadow activities. You've heard today that there is a lot of activities in flight. And we know that they're very important critical priorities, or the HR1. You heard earlier a discussion around ABOT and the changes that are upcoming there, as well as the true integration. So
one of the things we are doing is we're actually joining all those meetings as they're occurring, just so we can listen in and making sure we're understanding where those work efforts are at, what's being designed, developed, and delivered before we take over. So that's definitely a key focus for us. This is something we definitely did through the M&E transition because, no change waits for transition. So we need to keep moving with the train as it moves forward. So we're definitely jumping on board and getting educated there. For those work efforts that do extend beyond the July timeframe, and there are some, we will definitely be working with the consortium and Deloitte to figure out, where in the software development lifecycle one activity ends and where Deloitte will conclude that activity and where we will pick that up. And again, this is something we did, you may recall, FSET has been a very big focus over the last year. We did complete development activities from M&E and a couple of rounds of the end user system test, and then handed that over to Rajesh, Jerry, and the team to continue those efforts. So again, those in-flight projects are a key focus and something that we take a lot of care and attention to make sure that they're handed off successfully. Next slide. Success factors. So as I mentioned early on, we are building on the lessons learned and best practices from prior transitions. Communication is key. There's a lot of people involved at the project level from a transition perspective. We have a lot of recurring calls and coordination. In fact, we have daily calls, daily stand-ups to make sure that we're getting all our KT sessions scheduled and moving forward. Getting access is key. It's one thing to get onboarded. It's another thing to get access and make sure we complete all the necessary security requirements. It's key to getting access to the code, as well as getting early access to documentation. We know that the more we can self-serve and review materials prior to a knowledge transfer session, the more effective those sessions are. So we're actively working to get access to the code, as well as to documentation. I already talked about in-flight work, and we're getting integrated into those meetings already. So thank you to those meeting owners for getting that us included. Issues and risks. We have already logged risks at a project level that we continue to monitor. And issues as they occur, and they will occur. This is a very large transition. We're all committed to actively identifying them early and addressing them as quickly as possible. I'm looking across the room and I see our QA vendors, and I know they're sitting in all these sessions as well. Their third transition, and the state's IB&B is also engaged on our meetings and KT sessions as we move forward too. So a lot of interested parties and committed to working through issues early and escalating as needed. I mentioned lessons learned, and everything I just talked about really came from those two transitions. We continue to hold ourselves accountable for making sure this is a success to you. It's seamless and a transition in place to the extent we can. That there's a lot of changes coming. I think it's something I tell my team, and I know we talk about here at the project a lot. We do come from different backgrounds, different experiences. But one thing that unites us is serving you all, the counties and our beneficiaries. And whenever we have to have those difficult conversations, that's in the forefront of our mind, making sure we're making the best decisions for you all as we work through this transition. That's it from me.
All right. Thank you so much, Lisa. And thank you for all the updates. We look forward to a very smooth transition. Any comments or questions from the PSC? Okay, seeing none. Any comments from the public?
Hi, this is Jen from the Advocates Group. First, I just wanted to say thank you to the Benefits Cal team for the time we've worked together, and I feel like they've done such a great job of creating a really engaged process for the users in our design meetings. I'm curious with the timeline when we'll be integrating in with like the new team that's leading user-centered design and public engagement, and if we'll have the opportunity to meet with them to talk about how they plan to participate with us.
Lisa can answer. Take that.
This is Frederick. Yes, we'll bring that up at UCD and let you know when that time will be. We do not have it documented right now, but we can take that and we'll provide that information to you.
Thanks, Fred.
All right. Any other public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next topic, and it's quarterly performance trends with Don and Rajesh.
So I'll start again. This is Rajesh. So this slide talks about the rework on the CalSAS M&E. Again, off to a pretty great start here. If you look at it on the left-hand side, for the release 25.11, our rework is below 1%. And then if you break it down further into offshore and onshore, well within striking distance, 0.28 and 0.43 with a cumulative, 0.7%. The range for green is, 0 to 10, and we are right now, below 1%, which is pretty good. If you look at 26.01, again, it's not, we haven't seen the full rework yet because the release just went into production, but again, off to a good start on that front too. So overall, we'll continue to strive for great quality work and minimize the rework. We do understand that we have massive releases coming in front of us, but our focus will always be on quality and minimizing the rework. To the next slide. Moving on to defect backlog. So where we are is, while our current defect backlog around 200 is well within the striking distance of historical ranges, but we are aggressively trying to bring that backlog even further down. And honestly, my personal goal remains, I would want to see that around 100 or so. So we'll get there. We do have some big releases coming up, but by May, I expect our defect backlog, 100 or below. That's where I'm hoping we'll get there. Go to the next slide. The quarterly metrics, I'll steal the statement from Don's book, which it's boring and everything is green. So it's all good there. So we are off to a good start again on that front. That's it.
All right, and I'll steal my own statement, which is, it's boring and it's green, and that's exactly what I wanted. However, I think, Sarah, you're on to talk about the Highland item, which isn't quite as green on the next slide.
I hate being the only one in the red, but we'll talk about it. So unfortunately, we do have a red mark this time, and Highland missed the database transaction SLA in January, really because we were missing data from one of our tracking tools. We use 2 third-party systems to track database queries for the SLA, and one of them was not logging and storing the data in January. So this issue was identified early in January by our internal database team. They then monitored the tool regularly to confirm it was still working. There was nothing wrong with what was happening with the database queries, but unfortunately, this tool we used was not logging and storing that data, so we weren't able to calculate the percentage like we normally are. You can see for the average for the 2 months was over 99%, which is the norm. And I do want to note that there was no impact to the imaging solution during this time. It was working as it should. The issue was just with logging the data from that one database tool that we use. And that issue was resolved with the vendor on February 2nd. So that's what I have for our red mark.
Great, thanks, Sarah. That's the last slide of this section, so back to you for comment.
Thank you, Dawn. Any public, any questions or comments from the PSC? Okay. Seeing none, any public comment? All right. Seeing none, we'll move on to the next topic, and it's for our state partners.
Good morning. This is Manroop Mahal from OTSI. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. I have a couple of quick updates to share today. We received the CMS approval letter for the CalSAWS Gainwell Central Print Amendment 3 on December 31st. And last week, OTSI received the Deloitte Portal Mobile Amendment 2, and the ClearBest Change Order 10, both of which are currently under state review. That's it from OTSI.
Thank you. And next up is CDSS. Do we have CDSS on the line?
Yes, hi, good morning. This is Martha with CDSS. We have definitely provided and delivered several letters since we last met, making sure we keep CalSAWS busy, right? And so the policy letters, I'm going to go ahead and just give you a quick summary on what we've delivered. So we have ACL 2575, which is the CalFresh and CalWorks program impacts due to the federal government shutdown. This did provide guidance to the counties on maintaining program operations and benefit issuance during the federal government shutdown. We have ACL 2592, which is the CalFresh implementation of HR 1 changes to non-citizen eligibility policy. This implemented federal changes under HR 1 affecting the CalFresh eligibility rules for certain non-citizens, requiring updates to eligibility determinations and verification processes. ACL 2593, CalFresh implementation of HR 1 changes to ABOD policy. This provides direction on updated federal requirements related to ABOD time limits, including changes to age thresholds, exemptions, and tracking requirements. ACL 2603, which is the CFAP parolee eligibility. This clarifies eligibility for certain parolees under CFAP, expanding access to state-funded food assistance for individuals who do not qualify for federal CalFresh benefits. And just a note on this ACL, the state CalFresh leadership is still conferring to determine whether a manual workaround should be implemented if there is a delay in implementation of the implementation date, which is June the 1st of 2026. So more information will be released on that. ACL 2604, which is the CalFresh Standard Medical Deduction Demonstration Project Extension. This approval extends California's standard medical deduction waiver and allowing eligible elderly disabled CalFresh households to use a fixed medical deduction instead of verifying expenses, reducing workload and improving access. And then the very last one I have is ACL 2611, which is the consent-based income, employment and work hours verification tool Truth, which authorizes the use of the consent-based Truth tool to electronically verify income, employment, and work hours, of course, helping streamline verification while preserving the client choice. And that is the updates for CDSS.
Thank you, Martha. Do we have one of our state partners from DHCS?
Yes, hello, good afternoon, everyone. This is Teresa Hasbrook from the Department of Healthcare Services. We have three big updates. The first one I want to share with all of you is hopefully you were able to join the Department of Healthcare Services a couple of weeks ago as we rolled out our HR 1 implementation plan. Just want to give a huge thank you to our county partners, our community partners, our system partners. You all really allowed us to have critical conversations and very insightful feedback as California really determined how we were going to move forward with some of the massive changes that are happening on Medi-Cal. And so your voices are really reflected in the HR 1 implementation plan that we released. As you all know, with any of our implementation plans, this is a living, breathing document that we will update as new decisions are made and new strategies are pursued in order to continue coverage for our Medicaid members. The HR 1 implementation plan is both included in the link I put there, but also the recording of the webinar. So if you were unable to attend, don't worry. That session with Tyler and Yinja was recorded and you all can take a look at it. A couple other, I'm going to use the word exciting, probably the most exciting is we have been working on our single streamlined application update for what feels like 4 years now. And finally, all of the hard work that my team, as well as the input that you all have provided to get a better, more user-friendly single streamlined application has come to life, and we did release the English version of that. We're currently working on translating it into all threshold languages, and we'll issue out additional guidance when that becomes available. And then last, similar to our CDSS partners, we also had quite a bit of letters released. I'm not going to go through all of them, but just to say it is that time of year where we are releasing all of our annual sort of letters that have those new values. We have gotten ourselves to a art form with working with CalSAWS, and so the day that many of these numbers are released, we are able to get those over to our system partners right away so that there's no delays in providing those updates and getting them built in the system. So all of those update information on those annual letters is on our ACWDL page, as well as a new process in regards to Medi-Cal residency. Those are the big updates for DHCS for this time. So I will pass it back over to you all.
Thank you, Teresa. Any any questions or comments from the PSC? Seeing none, any public comment? Okay, with that, then we move on to our meeting being adjourned. So thank you, everybody, for being present. So we'll see you next month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.